In this video, I'm going to be going over Bank 20 number 2. So you probably took this test, this Bank 20, a few days ago. So you may want to go back to it and mark down the questions that you missed so you know which ones you actually need to watch, because you don't need to waste your time if you got the question correct. So I'm going to go through them fairly quickly. Question 1. We had 9 times x minus 9 equals negative 11. In this question, you have to start by distributing. 9x minus 81 equals negative 11. And then I add 81 to both sides to get 9x equals 70. And then dividing by 9 gives me x equals 70 over 9. If you noticed, your questions or your answer choices were in fractions, so you wouldn't need to type that into the calculator. Question 2. A rectangle, oh goodness, has an area of 32 feet and a perimeter of 24. We want to know what the shortest side of the rectangle is. So we need to figure out what side lengths would give us this area and perimeter. And so since we know area is multiplication, we could do 1 and 32, 2 and 16, 4 and 8. Those would all give us 32. So all of those would be sides for 32 area. But for perimeter, we have to add all the sides up. Well, if the perimeter is 24, we definitely can't have a side length of 32. And then if I were to do 2 plus 2 plus 16 plus 16, I don't get 24. But if I do 4 plus 4 plus 8 plus 8 for my perimeter, I do get 24. So my shortest side is 4, which is J. I don't know why I started way at the bottom. Let me go way up here for number 3. All right, this is a multiplication rule where we have 4 sandwiches, 2 soups, 2 salads, and 2 drinks. And if we want to choose one of each, we just multiply those numbers. 4 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 32. Question number 4, we have difference of squares. 3x minus 4y squared and 3x plus 4y squared. So one way that we could solve this is by double distributing. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times 4y squared is 12xy squared. And then we get a negative 12xy squared and a negative 16y to the 4th. These middle terms would cancel out, leaving us with 9x squared minus 16y to the 4th, which is A. Anytime you have difference of squares, those middle terms will cancel out. Number 5. If 40%, so that's 0.4 of some number equals 8, we want to know 15% of that number is what? So I need to first find that number. So we can divide both sides by 0.4. To give us x equals 20. And so 15% of 20 is 3, which is C. Number 6. So this one you needed to read carefully. It was midpoint, but I didn't give you the two ends. The endpoints are A and B. M is the midpoint. So the midpoint is 5, 4. B is 7, 3. And we want to know what A is. And so the midpoint means it's going to be the same distance. Either end is going to be the same difference from the middle. So 5 is 2 away from 7. So from 7 to 5, I subtract 2. Let me change my arrow so it'll make sense. So if I'm going from 7 to 5, I subtract 2. So I want to subtract 2 again to get 3. And then from 3 to 4, I add 1. So let's add 1 again to get 5. So the point is 3, 5. Question 7. So in order to find slope, we have to be in slope-intercept form, which means we got to get y by itself. So first thing I want to do is add 18x to both sides to get 6y equals 18x plus 6. And then we divide everything by 6 to get y equals 3x plus 1. And the slope is the number in front of the x. So 3. Number 8, when we have absolute value. So absolute value of x plus 9 equals 19. We have to have two different equations. The first one, we take x plus 9 and set it equal to 19. And the other one, x plus 9 equals negative 19. So we take what's in the absolute value and set it equal to 19 and negative 19. So subtracting 9 would give me x equals 10. And then subtracting 9 over here would give me x equals negative 28. A lot of you just did 10 and then you said, oh, negative 10. But if you plug negative 10 back into that equation, you don't get 19. All right. Number 9. So the circumference is 96 pi. And circumference is pi times diameter. So my diameter is 96. The question asked for the radius. So 96 divided by 2 is 48. So the radius is 48. Number 10. Just plugging in variables. You can just type this in your calculator. R is 9 plus B is 5 minus G is negative 6 times B is 5 plus negative 6. Now, if you type that in exactly as you see it, don't try to do half of it in your head, just type it in, you get negative 20. All right, number 11. So, bowling tournament, we have 5 games. And we want to know his average we want to maintain the average. So we need to go ahead and find the average of the 5 scores. So 210 plus 225 plus 254 plus 231 plus 280. We get 1200 divided by 5 is 240. So the average of his first 5 games is 240. If he wants to keep the same average, he has to score 240 again. Anything else would change his average. Number 12. So we have to do Pythagorean theorem. Oh, that was bad. All right, so we have 4x and y. So Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So if we plug in 4 squared plus x squared equals y squared. In order to get y by itself, we take the square root. So the square root of 16 plus x squared, which is e, or square root of x squared plus 16. 13. All right, draw the picture. All right, so it tells us that BD bisects ABE. So that means that this angle and this angle are the same. So just to help it make more sense in your head, let's just give them a number. Let's say it's 50 degrees. No, let's not. Let's just not give it a number because that's what it's asking. Okay. So we have 2 angles that are the same. Well, then it tells us that BE bisects this angle. So that would mean that this angle and this angle are the same. Well, for that to be the case, we have to have all 3 angles the same. And if all 3 angles are the same, they have to each be 60 degrees because 180 degrees is a line. So 180 divided by 3 is 60. All right, number 14. 4z plus 3 times z minus 2. All right, we have to double distribute. So we would get 4z squared minus 8z plus 3z minus 6, which is 4z squared minus 5z minus 6. Number 15. So we know f of x is negative 8x squared, and if we're finding f of negative 3, negative 8 times negative 3 squared, make sure you put that negative 3 in parentheses. The squared still goes outside of the parentheses. And if you just type that in your calculator, you will get negative 72. All right, number 16. Probability 12 red, 5 yellow, and 15 green. That's 32 total. So we want to make the probability of drawing a red 3 out of 5. So right now, before we add anything, the probability is 12 out of 32. And we want that to be equal to 3 out of 5. So we have to add some number. And if we add red marbles, that also adds to our total. And the way we solve this is we can cross multiply. So 5 times 12 plus x equals 3 times 32 plus x. 60 plus 5x equals 96 plus 3x. Then if we subtract 3x, we get 60 plus 2x equals 96. And then subtracting 60 gives me 2x equals 36. So x equals 18. All right. Number 17. Choose the same color. Number 17, we want to know the slope of CD. And we're given points for C as 9, 4 and D as 12, 1. The slope on top, you subtract your y's. So 4 minus 1 and then over 9 minus 12. That would be 3 over negative 3. Which is negative 1. $18. So we have a triangle, A, B, C. And we know that the angles A and B add up to be 47 degrees. And we want to know what C is. If you know that a triangle has 180 degrees, you can subtract 47 from that to get 133. Number 19, negative 8x cubed times 7x to the 6 minus 3x to the 5th. When we distribute, that becomes negative 56x to the 9th. You add the exponents. And then this becomes plus 24x to the 8th. And number 20, last one. So we are looking for an equation that represents these points. So first thing we need to do is find the slope. So pick any 2 points, 0, 14, 1, 19. Subtract the y's on top, 19 minus 14 and 1 minus 0, which is 5 over 1. Which is 5. So the slope is 5. That gets us down to just G or H. And then the point 0, 14 tells me that is a y-intercept. Because when the x is 0, that's a y-intercept. So the y-intercept would be 14. So H was your right answer.